Hello students, welcome to your second assignment in your Week 5 Create Making a Model instructional video. This assignment will come after the Week 5 Learn, so make sure that you did not skip the Week 5 Learn assignment. In order to access this assignment, all the information is within a content folder. Similar to previous assignments, we will click on this title link, Week 5 Create Making a Model. And that will bring us into the folder of materials that are available to you. You'll notice towards the top there is an overview. Make sure to read that piece. And then as you scroll down, there are resources for you to view before you begin this assignment. The top left video is a chain reaction example video. It's actually pretty cool how they set this up, and it is a very good example of a chain reaction model. So I wanted to make sure you have an example to go off of as you move forward. The video towards the top right talks about scientific models, what they are, and how we can use them in order to present information to other people. The bottom left video is how to make a scientific model and steps that you can use if this is new for you. So make sure that you view that if you need to. And then towards the bottom right, there is an image on what not to do. When it comes to this assignment, if you Google fission or fusion, you find an image and you simply copy that on a piece of paper, I will not take it. The model itself needs to be creative and needs to come from a specific hobby or a creative side from you. I will not take an exact replica of an image written down on a piece of paper or using candies or whatever it may be. I do not want you to do that. I want you to be creative in your ability to use more of an abstract form in order to present this material. So please do not Google the terms and copy images. I will not take it. Once you're done watching your videos and using the resources, in order to access your directions, you have to find the assignment discussion down here, and then you'll notice it's a Week 5 Create Making a Model title link. You click on that and it brings you into the discussion. A lot of times when students get to this point, they have a little bit of a panic attack because there's nothing here. If you ever see this, you will need to click the Create Thread button in order to get the information you need. So once you click on the Create Thread button, it gives you all of the instructions that you will need in order to complete this part of the assignment. You have to do this after you do the learning assignment because it's going to require you to put that information to use. There are 3 parts to this to focus on. Part 1 includes planning your model, and it includes things that you do want to do and things that you do not want to do. Again, do not things would include Googling words and simply redrawing an image. I won't take that. As well as copying another person's model or another student's model or not giving citations would be considered plagiarism. So again, you want to make sure you read these on what I am looking for and what I do not want. The left side includes the do list. We'll have you using specific hobbies to make this. And this is where students get a little bit more help in terms of ideas. If you are in a sport, you can use your sport to represent the nuclear fission or fusion. If you play video games or you like to draw, or if you want to make a stop motion video, if you use photography, crafts, other hobbies, cartoon simulations, anything along those lines can allow you to use whatever hobbies you enjoy to create this model. In the end, the model that you make will have an explanation provided by you on why you chose that and what it's showing. So even if it is a little more abstract, it's something that you can do as long as you're able to provide the information for it. So make sure to read the Part 1 table, and again, that's the planning piece. Part 2 has requirements on how I want you to present your project. Ultimately, students will have, whether it's a video, a PowerPoint voiceover, or a voice thread, you will have some oral presentation piece to this assignment. I will not accept just pictures or just a video without the oral presentation because ultimately, you providing the oral presentation piece is going to give me and the students in the class your information on why you chose this model and what it's ultimately showing us. The presentation that you verbally give is going to include a couple pieces of information, and they're listed right here for you. One of the key pieces that I tell students to do right away is always introduce yourself. You need to introduce your first and last name. I will not take projects without this piece, so you need to include it right away and just make sure you have that done. I want to know what you modeled, whether it was nuclear fission, nuclear fusion, or both. I want you to explain what method you used to model this, whether it was sports, creativity, etc., what materials you used. And then comes the explanation piece. I want you to explain to myself as well as your other peer students what your model is showing us. How is the model showing us nuclear fission or fusion, and what specific parts are represented in it? I want you to explain if it's a specific part of the process that's being shown. And then I want you to explain what part of your model would show energy change. One of the key pieces to any type of nuclear reaction is the energy change. And whether you are modeling a specific part or the entire reaction, you will have a form of energy change involved. So make sure to explain that part. If you included a chain reaction, how did you show this? And then always cite your information, whether it was an outside information source to help you plan or a piece of inspiration. You need to give credit where it's due. So again, to recap, include your name, first and last. What did you model? How did you model it and the materials you used? Explaining your model both in terms of what part of the process is shown as well as energy change. And then make sure to provide citations. And then there's also optional pieces here if you want to get some input on what to do or any additional pieces that you might need. Once you're done with part 1 and 2 and you've created that and you've added your oral presentation and all that is done, you can submit your assignment, whether you are going to type this in here and it's a link to, say, a YouTube video, or if you're going to browse your computer and attach a PowerPoint file, or if you have a video. There are multiple ways of submitting this part of the assignment. Once you have that included, you will hit that blue submit button, and that will submit your project for part 1 and part 2 for grading for me. Once you have submitted part 1 and part 2, which is your model as well as your oral presentation, you will have to do a peer review, and that's the last part of this. So you'll have to go back to the thread overview page, which I will show you. And this is where you'll see projects uploaded by other students. I want you to look at them, and then I want you to leave a comment on their project. And the comment should be respectful and should be a good form of peer review and critique. Include any interpretations that you might have had with their model, any specific questions you might have had, or giving them feedback. Did they have a part of their model that they missed that could have been representing something? Could they used something else or have included something else to help represent energy? Anything that you can give in terms of feedback. But again, it should follow these specific guidelines. I do not want students to put, you did a good job on this. I want you to give a nice, thorough review or any specific questions you have. And that's going to conclude this part once you're done with the part 3 peer review. Now, if you are ultimately going back into the discussion to check the threads, it's going to be back in this part where a lot of times students panic because they can't see the directions. Once you post, you will have threads you can see, and that's where you can access the other students' projects. Each thread will have a blue link, and you'll click on the blue link in order to access that. Again, if you have questions on this or if you need help, or if you want to run this by me and see if the model makes sense or if you need to add anything else, you can always work with me on this. You can email me, you can send me your hard copy, and I can give you feedback, whatever it may be. But just make sure that you're using your creativity, how you understand nuclear fission or fusion or both, and then make sure that you're providing that information to the rest of the class so we can understand your thought process behind your model.